way.
A lot of things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with, and, you know, accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over it.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just say a prayer for me. I just need prayer. I don't need nothing else.
Well, Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been like fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now, probably.
3 years.
Y'all, Boosie Badazz might just get hit with a 10-year sentence in his federal gun case, and guess who popped out immediately to clown him? Charleston White. The second Boosie's case hit the blogs, he jumped on live acting like Christmas came early. He was laughing, talking about how he always knew Boosie would end up in jail, and bragging that he'd been waiting to celebrate it. Then he went even further, saying he wouldn't care if Boosie never made it back out. Now, Boosie had already told fans earlier this month that he accepted a plea deal because he was tired of fighting. He thought it was the best choice, even though the case had already been dismissed once before. But prosecutors came back harder in 2024 and indicted him again, and now it could potentially be over 10 years. So while Boosie is posting emotional messages about trusting God and being worn down by the system, Charleston White is online popping champagne like it's his birthday. Now, in case of y'all didn't know, Boosie's legal drama has been dragging on for years, but this gun charge is what really sealed his fate. He was arrested for being a felon in possession of a firearm, a charge that's already tough to beat.
Or where the feds picked it up?
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
At first, things looked good when the case got dismissed in 2023. Fans thought he was finally free to focus on music and his family. But the feds weren't done. In 2024, they re-indicted him on the same charge, basically saying, "Nice try, but we're still coming for you." That's when Boosie broke down and took the plea deal. He went on X and admitted, "I thought this case was over and I was gonna get on with my life, but God don't make mistakes, and I'm tired of fighting." For Boosie, this wasn't just another setback. It was the moment everything he had been running from finally caught up with him. When the news dropped, fans flooded his mentions with support, but you could tell Boosie was broken by it. This isn't the same Boosie who used to troll online or clap back at every critic. This was a man who sounded tired. His posts had that mix of faith and resignation, like he was trying to accept his fate.
I wasn't gonna go to trial with it from the dump, actually, but I feel like this the right move for me. You know, I trust in God, Black.
People who've been following Boosie for years know he's been dodging bullets, both literal and legal, since his early days in Baton Rouge. Surviving cases, surviving beefs, surviving health scares, but this time, it feels different. 10 years is not a slap on the wrist, and the weight of that reality showed in every word he typed. While fans were lifting Boosie up, Charleston White was doing the exact opposite. He went live, smiling ear to ear, basically saying he predicted this would happen. Charleston made it clear he never believed Boosie would dodge this case, and now that the sentence is locked in, he's happy to rub it in.
Boosie going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street ain't got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pistol. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail!
He even said he hopes Boosie dies in jail, which is wild, even for Charleston. But then again, this is the same man who's made a whole career off being the loudest troll in hip-hop culture. The timing of his reaction made it sting even more. Boosie hadn't even had a chance to process his own sentencing before Charleston turned it into a live comedy show. Now, Charleston trolling is nothing new, but his obsession with Boosie feels personal. Every time Boosie has a legal issue, Charleston pops up like clockwork. That's why people are asking, why does Charleston White hate Boosie this much? It's deeper than just random internet trolling. These two have history, and their beef has been brewing for years. It goes all the way back to late 2022, when Kanye West had everybody heated with his White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie spoke out, saying Ye was disrespecting Black people, and honestly, most people agreed with him at the time. But Charleston White? Nope. He jumped online blasting Boosie for even speaking on Kanye, and that's when things went left. Instead of just clapping at Boosie, Charleston dragged his son Tootie Raw into it, and even T.I.'s son King Harris. He called them ugly, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up in jail.
He brought you up because you were attacking Kanye because of the...
Nah, that was, this Kanye West shit just happened. Nigga been coming at me. He been coming at me. It's just, you know, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. You can't take no risk of losing this behind, you know.
That's when people realized Charleston wasn't just another troll. He was willing to go low, even targeting kids just to hurt their parents. What surprised people most was how calm Boosie kept it. Instead of snapping back the way everyone expected, he played it safe during an interview with Tony the Closer. He made it clear that speaking his mind too much could easily land him behind bars, especially once somebody drags kids into the conversation. So rather than going all out, Boosie held back and kept his response measured. Here's that interview where Boosie explained why he refused to go off the way people thought he would.
I ain't really got no opinion on him because, my opinion can send me to prison. So I ain't really, I ain't really got no opinion on him, once you go to threaten people's kids, talking about you out of line. So, I ain't the one gonna do all that. I ain't gonna do all that, you know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, there's certain people you can't really express opinions on, and he one of those. You can't express how you feel because you might end up in prison. And I ain't getting tricked off the streets.
That line told you everything. Boosie wasn't scared of Charleston, but he knew Charleston was the type to bait him into saying something that could get him locked up. So instead of firing back, Boosie stayed calm, at least on the surface. But the tension was already boiling. By early 2023, this beef hit a whole new level. Charleston was already trolling T.I. over his paperwork party when Boosie's son, Tootie, decided to clap back. He called Charleston old, messy, told him to go die, all of it. Charleston, being Charleston, took it 10 times further. He went live and said, "I hope your daddy die from that diabetes. I hope China don't send the insulin over here 1 month." Like, who even says that? He basically wished death on Boosie just to get under his son's skin. And then, Tootie actually got arrested later that month for guns. Guess who popped out immediately claiming credit? Charleston White. He bragged about calling the police, sending in pictures, and tipping off the Department of Public Safety. He even said the cops were already watching Tootie because Boosie was a 6-time convicted murderer who used children to kill people. That was the moment this beef officially went from trolling to real-life damage. Not even 3 months later, Boosie himself got arrested again in San Diego after a case hearing, and Charleston couldn't wait to laugh about it. He went on Instagram Live saying this was God's plan, comparing Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den, like God chose him to prove something by surviving prison.
Oh, just them white folk, Boosie, you done got too much. You done let these niggas play you too this internet dumb and say what little Tootie gonna do now? What look to the state? Listen, Vlad TV. Vlad post everybody going to jail but Boosie. Somebody tag Vlad TV.
Charleston twisted Boosie's arrest into a whole sermon, making it sound like Boosie's pain was divine punishment. Fans couldn't tell if he was being serious or just trolling, but either way, it was disrespectful as hell. Months later, Boosie finally broke his silence on Vlad TV. He admitted he didn't even want Vlad to interview Charleston because of all the things he said about Tootie, and once again, he made it clear he wasn't scared. He was just trying to stay free. He said it himself.
I mean, I can't respond to that because once I see a man go up there and say he gonna put your in prison, even if you threaten him or say something about him and he's got facts to where he's put people in prison, I can't take a chance of getting involved with that.
Well, listen, I don't want anything to happen.
He like, I'm gonna call. I seen him on some shit. He gonna call somebody. PO.
Oh yeah, no. He calls people. He gets people arrested for threats and stuff like that. But I'm not threatening.
So even though Boosie played it cool, you could tell Charleston was living rent-free in his head. Then came early 2024. The beef bled into internet culture even more. Aiden Ross was supposed to have Boosie on his stream, but Boosie didn't want to deal with Charleston, so he passed. Next thing you know, Aiden flipped the story and claimed he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston White. That lie blew up online until DJ Vlad stepped in, dragging Aiden for siding with a guy who had literally praised Hitler and denied the Holocaust. That mess showed just how far Charleston's shadow stretched. Even young streamers were using his name as clout currency. Even after all that, Charleston wasn't letting up. Later in March, he popped back online claiming Boosie had allegedly warned promoters not to book him. He turned it into another rant, saying he'd already reached out to the feds and was ready to get Boosie locked up over what he called threats. He even dragged Boosie's health into it just to make the insults sting more. Here's Charleston going off again, this time swearing he'd get Boosie jammed up through the FBI.
I'm gonna put your in jail, waiting for the FBI to send me the right collar number, because I'm finna make a report on your mother and people. And you make the man call your name specifically. The promoter specifically said your mother name, Lil Boosie. He implemented you and implicated you. Finna go to jail, back to jail. You gonna be on your knees, but them knees gonna be bleeding again.
Once again, Charleston had no proof, but it didn't matter. He said it loud enough, and it stuck. Boosie himself even admitted that he's been getting calls from guys already locked up, asking him when he was gonna join them. Imagine being Boosie, already carrying the weight of a federal sentence, and then hearing dudes inside clowning you before you even touch the yard. That just adds insult to injury, and Charleston knows it.
I feel, I trust in God, man. This crazy.
Here's another angle people are whispering about. Boosie didn't even want to do a trial. He went straight for the plea. And honestly, can you blame him? Imagine if, for some wild reason, Charleston White had managed to show up in court. Y'all already know he would have turned that courtroom into a circus, probably testifying, pointing fingers, and running to the blogs the second he stepped outside. It's not that far-fetched either, because Charleston has a history of snitching, and he's never been shy about it. According to sources, when Charleston was just 14, he was involved in a robbery with some other teens. During the robbery, one of them, Antoine Doolittle, shot and unalived a man named Michael Levy. When it came time for court, Charleston testified against him. Now, in snitch culture, that's unforgivable. Even though he was just a kid, people still drag him for basically telling on someone in his crew. And Charleston, he doesn't run from it. He's defended himself by saying, "I was young, I was in court, I told the truth." That's not snitching. That's survival. Here's how he justifies snitching in his own words.
I'm not a street kid. I'm not a criminal. I'm a kid who was raised to tell the truth. When my mama come in and say, "Son, what happened?" "Mama, I didn't do that." I got paid for a lawyer. I got two lawyers, Carl Mallory and Louis Stearns. Louis Stearns became Judge Stearns, Judge Louis Stearns. But nigga, I had two paid for lawyers. My mama is a well-to-do mama. I'm just playing, I ain't playing. I'm an adolescent going through an adolescent stage of rebelliousness. I ain't no street. Hell yeah, I'm gonna tell on you. I've been telling since I was a little bitty boy.
But here's the thing, recently, footage from that old juvenile case resurfaced, and the internet lit up again. People were calling him a hypocrite, saying you can't preach street code one day and then brag about testifying the next. Here's the clip everybody's been using to call him out.
He pulled the hammer back on the gun.
And then what happened?
He fired it.
Charleston doubled down though, saying he's never lived by no street code, and he doesn't care who's mad, which is wild because he'll still call other rappers rats while proudly admitting he's snitched himself. So when you stack it all up, it makes sense why people are side-eyeing Boosie's decision to skip trial and take that plea deal. The last thing he probably wanted was to risk a courtroom where Charleston White might somehow show up and run his mouth. This is the same man who brags about calling cops, setting people up, and proudly admits he testified as a teenager. If Charleston had even the slightest chance to be involved, you already know he would have turned that courtroom into his own show. Picture him pointing fingers, cracking jokes to the jury, then hopping on live right after saying, "I helped put Boosie away." That's not wild imagination, that's exactly how Charleston moves. That's why Charleston is celebrating so loud right now. To him, this isn't just Boosie getting caught up in another case, it's karma. It's proof that everything he's been screaming, all the trolling and mocking is finally hitting home. And when you connect the dots, the beef starting in 2022, the shots at Tootie, the arrests, the trolling, the snitching, it feels like Charleston has been waiting, maybe even praying for this moment where Boosie is staring down a possible 10 years. Right now, Boosie isn't locked up yet, but with this plea deal on the table, the reality is he could be headed to prison for a full decade. Meanwhile, Charleston White is clowning like he's already won, and the streets are split between laughing and waiting to see if the hammer really drops. But here's the part that hits hardest. If Charleston is this loud while Boosie is still technically free, just imagine the circus he'll create if Boosie actually gets sentenced.